He who has a why can bear almost any how. We often look at making goals, making decisions, setting up plans. Let's talk about the most obvious one and then link to what I have done for the majority of my life, and we'll talk health and fitness. And most people will be like, well, I'd like to be in better shape. I'd like to get rid of the man boobs, or get rid of the gut, or, just feel generally a bit better about myself. Or sometimes you get all the way into the harsh ones, and sometimes you need the harsh. And I want to stop being a fat sack of shit. I want to stop hating the man I see in the mirror. I want to stop hating myself. Yeah, makes sense, understandable. But why? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to make a change? Is it just as simple as you don't like what you see in the mirror? Because honestly, that's good. That's a good place to start. And usually you need something to push you. Because when you're slightly uncomfortable, slightly unhappy, it's usually not enough to force you to then change. It's not enough to push you into, upending where you're at and changing those habits. It takes something a little bit more. It takes something more uncomfortable. And that's why, generally speaking, people change because of pain, not because of desire. Because desire is nice. I want a six-pack. I want to be in great shape. I want to be able to, go for a run, or, compete in an event, or whatever the fuck it might be. Those are nice things. But when shit hits the fan, they don't really drive you forward. They don't keep pushing you, because it's like, oh, well, how much do I really want that? How great is that experience going to be? But on the flip side, with pain, once you're out of that unbearable level of pain, it becomes really easy to start letting that slip away. Oh, it's just one drink. It's just one meal. It's just one tub of ice cream. It's just one bit of cake. It's just one pizza. It's one whatever the fuck it might be. It's one missed workout. And then they cascade and they build into things from there. But it's really easy to justify it when that overarching aching of pain isn't there to keep pushing you forward. And it's why I believe, and having done this for 15 odd years, that you need a big fucking why. You need something bigger than yourself. You need something that through the hard times, through the challenges, through the days where you feel like you can't fucking continue, where you can't take any more of this, that why pulls you through. And I often think this is why most people yo-yo up and down, and why they can't follow through long term. And look, I think there are actually magnitude of reasons into that. Part of it being that they focus on using motivation rather than using motivation to build the foundation, then kicking into discipline and making decisions. But that's a whole different fucking story. The reason why your motivation fails is when it's a selfish or shallow motivation. As I said, if the motivation is a six-pack, having had one, having lost it, having regained it, all that kind of stuff, it's fucking nice to have, don't get me wrong. I enjoy having a six-pack. I enjoy being in great shape. But that enjoyment of having a six-pack usually isn't enough to override, the desire for pizza and wine. you know, to kick back in front of the TV and just chill and eat whatever the fuck I feel like. That desire for a six-pack does not override the desire for that ease and comfort. What does is having a why bigger than myself. I've discussed before, my why is my kids. My why is my family. My why is bigger than me. It's not fucking about me. I don't do this for me. Yeah, I enjoy the perks that come with the discipline that I've created. I enjoy the perks of being that man, but I don't do it for me. I do it for them, and that is such a greater driving force, and it's something that is so much more powerful and pushes me through when I don't fucking feel like it, because there are many days where I don't want to do this, and I have built it so that I have a rock solid foundation to be able to overcome those feelings. You know, I built it up, and I have immense momentum now that my discipline and my momentum carries me through. But there are still days that even my discipline and my momentum is not, you know, can make it a grind. And so then my why makes the how. You know, it means I can bear any how. Because my why is my kids. You know, the first time I had that wake-up call was after my daughter's first birthday. And I saw this perfect, beautiful, tiny little human being, and the joy on her face, and I was like, fuck. Who knew that you could love something so much? And I was like, I want to be here for as many of these as humanly possible. I don't want to miss a single fucking one of these. And I just turned 30, and that's what mattered to me. You know, looking at that little girl and seeing the joy on her face, and I was like, I want to be here for as long as possible. And even then, even with that massive why hanging over me, that forced me to really reevaluate my life choices. Life came up. Life got in the way. You know, I went, and that first time I started 126, and it was the first, you know, premonition of this concept. And I created, you know, 126 to greatness, dedicated 126 days to break those old habits and create new ones. It fucking worked, and it was fantastic, and I dropped 33 kilos in 126 days. I was a different fucking man. I was a lean, mean, fighting machine. And then you know what happened? Fucking life. You know what happened? I got comfortable. And life got really fucking hard. Really fucking hard. You know, my son was born 8 weeks early, and my wife spent 6 months in hospital with my son. I was basically a single dad. And that was a wild time. And then my trainer left, and suddenly I was back in my gym for the first time in like 5 years, working all the floor sessions, 40 plus hours a week, you know. And then there was excuses, and then there was reasons, and then there was whys, and it took truly letting it all fucking slip away before having that wake-up call and coming back to that why. Not only did I have my daughter, I had my son now, and he was healthy, and he'd come back, and he'd gotten himself good again, and he'd pulled through that premature, and he came good. I was like, well, now you've got to fucking come good. Now you got to stand up, and you got to be a shining fucking beacon for them, and show them what is possible, and show them how to be there, and not disappoint them. Not say, no, daddy can't do these things because, well, daddy's a fat sack of shit. He's a lazy motherfucker, and he chooses to stuff his face and sit on the couch rather than do the things that are required. He chose his ease and comfort over your happiness. That was not something I could abide by, you know. Nearly 300 days ago, I made a firm fucking decision, a real firm decision, that I was not going to be that guy, that I was not going to be that man, that I was not going to fail my children that way. And so I made a decision, and I kept making that decision. And for nearly 300 days, without fail, I've continued to make that decision to be the best version of myself. And that's what it took. And so every time I'm struggling, every time I'm like, I'm not sure I feel like getting that workout in, or it's late and I've fucked my day, and I've still got a weighted walk to go through, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, it'd be really fucking easy to go to bed right now. And nobody, and I mean nobody, would ever fucking know. And I think about my son, and I think about my daughter, and I think about my wife, and I think about the life that we have, and I don't want to lose that. I don't want that to slip away. And so I move forward, and I keep moving forward, and I keep moving forward, and I get that shit done. And it's why you need a big fucking why, and also discipline and momentum. Because every time that happens, every time I follow through, every time I overcome that voice in my head that's like, nah, nobody's gonna know, I build more momentum. But that why means that I find another level. I find a way to overcome. I find a way to bear anything and overcome. Because that's who I am, and that's how I define myself, and that's who I want to be defined as that man who can handle fucking anything. And so I keep making that decision. So my why carries me through. That's why I think you need it. You need, there are many aspects to that, but it's a hell of a strong place to start with. Having a really rock solid reason to do it. And honestly, if you can't do it for your children, I don't know if there's a reason that you could. If you're a man who loves his children more than life, I think it is your duty, your honor, and your obligation to fucking be in great shape. And I've stated many times before, that doesn't necessarily mean a six-pack. That doesn't necessarily mean, shredded to the bone. But it does mean being in great fucking shape. It does mean that you have the strength, the aerobic capacity, and the mobility to take on anything that is thrown at you. At any moment, you are able to stand up and be like, yeah, done. That's the why. It's the ability to play with my children. It's the ability to, do whatever they ask me. It's the ability that when we've gone out and their legs are heavy and they're fucking tired, and I can chuck a child on each hip and just walk. Or, we go out on bike rides and I've got, my son on my shoulders and a bike in each hand, and we are just marching, and we get that shit done. That I can climb the equipment with them. I can climb the obstacle course with them. I can do whatever it is that they ask of me. And I can see the joy in their beautiful little faces that Daddy's participating. And on the flip side, I see the sadness in many children at other things that we've gone to, at parks and, equipment, at things that we've attended, where their parents can't or won't participate with them. My kids are never going to have to wonder about that for either parent, me as a father or my wife. We are there and able to and willing to do whatever is required. And that why carries me through. And that why is applied to everything. It's not just fitness. It's not just nutrition. It's not just those things, though they are certainly a factor. It is applied to my business. It's applied to my discipline. It's applied to, my grit and my fortitude. It's applied to all things that make me the best version of myself. It's applied to all things that allow me to lead the life that I want to lead. That why of being able to provide them the best possible life is there. And so I make definitive decisions on the daily. It's like I keep saying, I keep coming back to that one. The tree falls the way it leans. I keep making decisions daily in the micro to make those decisions. I make decisions around those things. Am I going to call it early tonight, or will I do a little bit more work? Am I going to choose to go grab some snacks from Coles or Woolies, or am I going to go home and make the right choices? Am I going to push harder in this workout, or am I just going to coast through? All those little choices that add up into massive things are driven by my why of my children, of being the best I can be. And that doesn't mean I don't sleep. That doesn't mean there aren't days where it's a fucking nightmare and a grind, and even with the, as I said, the discipline, the momentum, then the motivation and the drive of this, that they're still not perfect days, but it still gets done. And when we are trying to lead the greatest life possible, when we are trying to lead by example, when we're trying to be the best version we can be, we need every arrow in our quiver that we can possibly get. We need the why, we need the momentum, we need the discipline, we need the habits, we need the, decision-making capacity. We need to cut off all other options. We need all these things because you don't know at what point you're going to need. So you need to stack all these potential options. You need to set action goals, not outcome goals. You need these things. And they stack and they stack and they stack and they stack. Because we're in the pursuit of something great. And your greatness will be different to my greatness. But it's still your greatness. So you need as many tools as possible to be able to do the work and overcome. Because there will be obstacles. There will be, days that are fucked, and days that suck, and days where you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You need everything there to keep pushing you forward. And if the why is shallow, if the why is, small-minded, and the why is selfish, it makes it much, much harder to overcome those days. It's not impossible. And I've seen people who do it. It's not impossible, but it's harder. And I find that, your willpower can be eroded much, much easier. But if you have a deep ingrained why, and then you build the discipline, and then you build the grit, and then you build the habits, and then you make the decisions daily, and then you have all these things stacked on top of it. But as I said, a man with a why can bear almost anyhow. And especially what I describe in Chasing Greatness. It's not easy. It's fucking simple. And it's effective. And it'll change your whole life and your whole fucking paradigm. But it's not easy. And part of that's what makes it worthwhile, that it's not easy, that it's not your average Joe who's going to rock up and chuck in a 45-minute workout and be like, bam, here we go. No, it takes commitment, it takes fortitude, it takes a big fucking why, and it takes stepping up and being the man that you should be and want to be. But there's a reason why the majority of guys who undertake this are fathers. It's not a requirement. It's just usually that they have a bigger reason to do this. They have something that's beyond themselves to undertake this, to push through when the obstacles arise, to continue to overcome. They have something that pushes them forward. As I said, the love of a father for their child is unimaginable. I did not realize that I had the capacity for love that I have for my children. I did not know that was possible until I had them. And that love grows every single day, which I also didn't fucking realize was possible. But it does. It's this thing that, when you sit in that and be cognizant of how incredible this gift is, this gift of life, this gift of their lives, for you to have them in your life and to be part of that and be a serious part of that role of helping them grow up into the best versions of themselves. It is not something to be undertaken lightly, and you must take that on with the grandeur that it deserves to be the best version. You must not take it for granted. You must not squander this opportunity of life to be a part of their life and be the best version of yourself. So no, it's not selfish to look after your health and fitness. No, it's not selfish to waste that, because you are becoming the best version of yourself for them. And they are your why, and they're what will carry you through all those dark days, all those tough times. They are what will continue to push you forward. So utilize that why. Shoulder the burden. Handle it, because it is worth it for them. So if you are ready to step up and be the best version of yourself, if you're ready to step forward and see who you can be and truly discover the greatest version of yourself, then shoot me a message. Let's get you into Chasing Greatness Daily, and let's start that journey. If you're not quite there yet, click the link in my bio, grab my top 10 tools to transform your mental toughness. And lastly, if this spoke to you, if it inspired you, if you know someone who needs to hear this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share, but most importantly, subscribe. The majority of people who watch this are not subscribed, and I'm here every single day, sharing from the front, sharing from my experiences, sharing from the experiences of the guys I'm coaching, and I'm here to help you bypass all of that crap that we have been through to reach your greatness. So hit the subscribe button, let me know, let the algorithm know that this is of value and you want more of this, because I'll be back again tomorrow. Until then.